You're online, please start.
Hi, thanks Elena. Hi everybody, I'm very happy to see you there, and our speakers and our viewers. So we have something like 20,000 views per day because of our Venture TV widget, which we show to any visitor to latoken.com, and also we will share it in our partner websites. This is about venture investors, this is about funders. Entire community is looking for ideas to pivot, to find business models which can fit the new reality, and also support projects which can not only grow at this moment, but also create long-term value. And we are holding this panel, Investments in the New Reality, exactly with this purpose, to find, to help the community and each other to have great ideas and greater partners and connections to build great things. After this panel, we will have pitch competition. Guys, I suggest we start from your insights, your views of what kind of investors and what kind of projects, better with case studies, fit the new reality. You share your views and also add some information about yourself. Alexander, let's start from you.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So my name is Alexander. I'm from Gains, which is mainly a crypto community. We also raise funds for projects. We do daily news videos. We host cool and educational events in our group. So the main things I'm looking at right now is Ethereum 2.0. There's more than 20,000 validators on the testnet, and there's actually a growing number of Ethereum addresses that have 32 ETH or more. And that number is what is precisely needed to be a validator in the upcoming 2.0 Ethereum, which will have proof of stake. That's about 3 million Ether if you multiply 32 ETH by 115K addresses. That would be locked if they all decide to stake, which would be about 3% of the Ethereum supply that would be locked. So that might help with the price. Many people believe ETH might be one of the crypto to lead the next bull run. And I'm also looking at supply chain, blockchain use for supply chain. One of the largest producer of fruit and vegetables in the world, called Dole, is launching a 5-year plan to use blockchain to use with supply chain. They actually said that it would help turn procedures that took weeks into seconds. So the efficiency gain is actually quite insane. And so that's about it for now. I'm really looking forward to supply chain, but I would just add that we still need to be careful about the entry and exit points. Blockchain does solve all the middle parts in the supply chain, but you can still have fake info entered at the beginning or errors at the end as well.
Thank you. Pen, what's your view?
I think that a lot of the protocols that are smaller than Ethereum and Bitcoin are going to have significant issues raising capital, volume issues, listing on larger exchanges will be extremely difficult. I think you're going to have a significant consolidation on the private side away from companies that are trading on exchanges. So I think due to the pandemic, a lot of the companies that could survive and look good in a good market are going to have significant issues. I think on the investor side, investors are definitely holding their capital for at least 3 to 6 months. They're being extremely cautious, and from our fund's perspective, unless it's a company that's very recession resistant, we're definitely treading very carefully.
Okay, so it's very interesting that we started from protocols and blockchain use case. I think that this is one of the great cases for the new reality. There are many countries which could face chain of defaults in the travel industry, in the event industry, and transportation. This should affect banking system. It could result in defaults in banking system, and central banks trying to capitalize banks and also inject stimulus into the economy, which can trigger inflation and hyperinflation. So people need some independent financial system to store their value. At the same time, this requires some trust to the system, and that's the bigger players have advantage there. It's about safety rather than investment into new risky ventures. Okay, so who wants to contribute to this blockchain protocol discussion, or we move to other industries and other dimensions?
I'm happy to do that, Valentin. My name is Emmy. I am the chair of the Western chapter at the Crypto Valley, and I am focusing with my other hat on security of digital assets with the Ledger Vault. You guys may not know that Ledger has a Vault arm, so an institutional arm as well, which is focusing on safeguarding your assets at all times. I believe that, to elaborate on what you said, Pan, investors still will need to deploy. It is just different metrics and different aspects what they look at. When we address the first question, that how long this pandemic is going to last and how long the effect, what it leaves here, the coming years, how long that will last. Of course, we can only guess, but a lot of things, just like after 9/11, are going to change, like how we travel or what kind of security measures we take. That is going to change. When it comes to blockchain is not a magic pill or a magic tool what is going to save or it's going to give us a solution. However, where it can help is how our data is going to be transmitted. And when we want to preserve our data, we can decide how much data we want to share and for how long and with who. So I see blockchain helping us in the security aspect.
Yeah, and this is Xiao Chen, and I will also just follow on that. And so when we just look at
Xiao Chen, we miss your face.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. I
open.
Yeah. So, yeah, when we just talk about the potential impact of COVID-19 to the impact space, and the simple rule is that capital follows opportunity, and that's always the case. And so when we just look at the capital, we have a very different type of capital available, and from the investors who are really looking at the short-term gain, and definitely that's some of those opportunities will just go to medical, go to the online, and which will shift their focus temporarily to other things, even go to the PPEs. And just even today, I received several information from the venture capitalists who are backed by the government, started to sourcing PPEs for different countries. So capital, from the short term, there are short term players who will just follow the opportunity. Then there's also the midterm type of or longer term of investors, and they see how COVID-19 moving the all prepared rising of digital economy, and from their investment portfolio, and currently that's then they started actually hiring expertise to just building their digital economy vertical. And I think this is also something very interesting for those who are preparing for their new innovation. And I think that's definitely a very interesting area where that's more capital will just jump into the digital economy related opportunities. And in terms of the impact investors and who look at the investment opportunity beyond pure commercial return, and currently that there are a bunch of good investment opportunities, not only that can just help to save life and help to address the global pandemic, but also they now just make many of the social entrepreneurship which were not financially or commercially viable, but now becoming more viable. So then now that's many of the large institutional investors who have the impact focus and also will bring more of their portion portfolio into the medical or healthcare related technology enabled solutions. And so I think that definitely COVID-19 is changing the landscape of the investment in general. And in terms of the blockchain related opportunity, and it's very clear that now that the expectation is that the solution driven type of innovation is the key for the future of blockchain. So that's why more of investment I already seen are going to those blockchain for digital ID, blockchain for tracing financial flow, blockchain to just help to add accountability for donation. Those kind of innovation are being funded more substantially in these days. But for those which are pure token based, still don't have a clear model what's the solution, what problem they're trying to solve, might face challenge. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So what is the industry you want to discuss after the blockchain? What would be our focus, guys?
Well, actually, just a note on the blockchain side. So I'm Tess from Tess Ventures. I founded and started it. Prior to that, I started companies, and I was fortunate that had also had one of my companies that I founded acquired. So when I invest, I think about it from the founder side. In the last few years, blockchain has been one of my biggest theses of investing. And I also have looked and studied various crypto exchanges in detail. So I think obviously what La Token here is doing and the great team here is doing is excellent, because it provides a platform that allows for liquidity, allows even now for education of blockchain and bringing together a great network and ecosystem of people. So what I've discovered and definitely iterated on in the cycle of how the market has evolved in the last 4 years. Prior to that, the last 10 years, I've already been investing early stage in traditional fintech, in health tech, in biotech. So was very fortunate that I would say in the last 2 years, I have about 4 exits from these early stage investments. One in VR, one in biotech, and then also one in a SaaS play, and recently in a construction tech. So that experience has allowed me to be understanding that advisors are important and having the best and right strategic investor. So with that in mind, the last few years, blockchain, I've discovered, especially recently in this market, blockchain transaction actually is going to allow data through private and public keys, allowing them to own it. In that sense, recently I've invested into a RegTech, a regulation technology company. So blockchain technology enables greater data privacy and data security. For example, a user could store their personal information on a blockchain and release and be able to control when the information is released with their own control. That allows for great comfort. It allows for this frontier technology actually to be utilized in a very useful use case, and in that sense allow for mass adoption. So the regulatory technology company that actually also does authentication biometrics, which is very fitting in the cycle where a lot of things want to be touchless. And, this regulatory technology company also does obviously something that is very dear to every user's mind, which is in compliance. And that was something that was very actually needed and very well focused on before COVID-19. So, with the Facebook kind of user misdata management, that allowed for GDPR and CCPA to be very important and top of mind for everyone. Even crypto exchanges are also, looking into this, because of the fact that they own so much data and there's so much access to it, and we want to make sure to protect that. So I think, in this heart of mind, with all this thinking, blockchain technology that actually helps PPI is something that is going to be even more critically important in what is happening right now, especially with so much remote access and how this market is going to be widely adopting this. So, hopefully mass adoption in the blockchain crypto world will evolve, especially with, another component, which is, fiat to crypto recognition and solutions. So I look forward to speaking more about that and, sharing more information.
Thank you. By the way, do you see consolidation in protocol space or other business model in blockchain?
Absolutely. I've definitely been thinking about that even as early as 18 months ago, because so many great companies have evolved with the smart contract solution. And unfortunately, some of them were, bad characters. Some of them were truly, great characters, founders with great vision and great, integrity. However, it got challenging because the ecosystem was not ready for such great technology to actually evolve. So many times these startups had great vision or great technology, they didn't have the product ready. Or even if they did, it was hard for them to access actual users that would adopt it. And then later translate that into revenue. So every company knows revenue is critical and that's the key. So mass adoption and also, consolidation is something that was top of mind, because I saw so many great companies that actually had the capital through, raising. They had an amazing ability to raise and lots of supporters. So these, particular companies actually can come out and acquire companies. And also on the sense, great investors with great capital actually can lead this area of seeing and knowing who are the great founders, the great founding teams and entrepreneurs, and where the ecosystem needs actually specific technology. So that's the reason why I think, consolidation always was needed. And especially now with COVID-19 in these trying, challenging times, it's even more important because lots of great companies, even the best character, best execution companies, actually are now in a market risk situation. So they unfortunately are running out of burn rate, and the access to capital has definitely, has decreased. So I think in this sense, and I know in this sense that many companies have already asked me to ask for, great exit strategies of who they can partner with, who they probably can be acquired. And on the same token, companies, even before COVID-19, funds, capital, investor people, and individuals and groups have asked to acquire great companies, especially if valuation is at the right price and if the team fits strategically to what they are doing. So absolutely, I think that's a great question. And we'll see, a lot of this. And the market needs a lot of great advisors or individuals who can navigate this for the ecosystem.
Oh, great. Thank you. So I think it's a good time for them to come to this show. So you're welcome to bring some of them if you see on your radar, so they can show their demo and do pitch. I think that this consolidation could be a bigger deal flow and market for some time. Yulia, do you see this consolidation or distressed asset or some other type of investments growing?
Yes, Hi guys, I'm Julia. I'm CEO of Workspace. I'm generally in international trade, and at the same time now with the group of private investors, we are specializing in blockchain projects, which solve the problems of international trade. And in this actual time, and now with the existing problem till now they are bigger and bigger because it is the same problem with supply chain. Nobody trusts anybody in the market. The traders are trade 10 times the same product. Logistics, it's also very difficult to be organized. That's why we are looking for different types of solutions, blockchain solutions in this area related exactly to international trade.
Great point. Luis, what's your take?
So, so my name is Luis. I'm an investor, individual investor, and I'm also an energy executive. And I think that thinking about energy and blockchain, there are two sides, two aspects that are very important. So first, blockchain, and when you're talking more about cryptocurrencies, it's consuming a lot of energy. So now there's just a very recent data that the mining of Bitcoin is consuming energy more than the whole country of Switzerland. So on the energy side, it's something that we're looking into, and it's growing the offer of assets of companies with blockchain and working with blockchain and other cryptocurrencies attached to a energy asset, energy generating asset. So it was very interesting. The last pitch I saw, it was a company with an hydroelectric generation attached to a mining facility. So the company could lower the cost of the energy for mining and also guarantee the supply of the energy. This was very wise. This was very interesting. And the other aspect is on the energy side, we're growing the decentralized generation of energy. What it means that we're now looking more into the big generating assets. We're looking into more distributed ways of generating energy, so we could control our supply either in terms of price, either in terms of guarantee supply, and we can choose the source we buy energy from. So not coal, but solar or wind or whatever. And this kind of this technology is using a lot of blockchain technology to negotiate the excess of energy. So a community can have a small generation plant and use and exchange with other communities, or either among the individuals exchange the excess of energy. So I believe that a lot of the energy world it's overlapping with the blockchain world, and I see these two trends: one, the mining facilities together with a generation asset, so you can guarantee price and supply, and smaller grids, what we call is just a smaller communities generating their own energy and using the blockchain technology to exchange the access, and so you can have like kind of a closed grid where you don't need big utilities to supply your energy. And this is a great thing, because we're just shutting down. Europe is shutting down all the coal generation facilities all around, and we're gonna need smaller generation assets to supply our needs. So I see this as a great way to manage this kind of assets and this kind of supply.
Thank you. Eli, what's your view?
Yeah, I think first a quick intro. Eli and Sari, Bowser Securities, we're FINRA SEC registered broker-dealers. And regarding the view, we're seeing a bunch of consolidation. We're seeing the activity picking up. As you know, blockchain is used for two primary reasons. Number one, cost reduction and to build trust. So we're seeing the cost reduction being in the healthcare and supply chain, and that is being manifested. So we're seeing the companies, traditional companies utilizing it. And on the trust side, we're seeing more and more fintech and asset-backed securities, gold, and other hard assets deploying it to build and enhance the trust with the end investors. So we're seeing a lot of M&A. We have investors that are still writing checks and we're closing deals, but the reallocation of assets happen. So the takeaway would be that you have to think about it. Are you really solving a new challenge, or you're solving something that people have been trying to solve for years? And how is it differentiated? It should not be blockchain leading. It should be the solutions leading it with a blockchain on the back end. So that's how we see it. We've been pretty active, and we're seeing a tremendous amount of growth.
Thank you. So we have several projects for pitch competitions. I suggest Elena to introduce them, and we enjoy their pitching and give feedback. Elena, please go ahead.
Thank you, Valentin. Okay, so we have 4 projects for today, and I'd like to ask all the judges to please open your Google scoring forms. The first participant for today is Christian Kuzmic, the founder and CEO at Mindset Technologies. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Elena. Hello to you all. I hope you can see. You can see me.
See you, but no, we don't see your pitch deck if you're showing it.
So now you should see it.
No.
Now you should see it.
Yes, now we can see it. Okay. So you have 5 minutes, please go ahead.
Exactly. So welcome to my pitch today on Zoom. Interestingly, I'm talking about quite a different currency. I'm talking about human attention. I mean, human attention as compared to tokens, cryptocurrency, normal money is something that is only underrated if you have a lot of it. And you know this from marketing, everyone is craving for human attention. We see it from a slightly different way, because what we are doing is we are using tools and artificial intelligence, neuroscience tools, to reduce human error by detecting mental load and predicting fatigue. And this is what we do to save lives, improve quality, and increase performance. And we have the plan to make a platform for predicting human attention. That means we are interested in many different use cases. We are also interested in investors with different networks from different use cases. And I'll just lead you through what we're doing and what we're planning. Every one of you knows exactly how important human attention is when you're playing a musical instrument. You know it. When you're operating a vehicle, or you start operating a vehicle, when you have just freshly gotten your driving license, you know exactly how difficult it is. And the thing is, the more the world gets automated, also by the help of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all this, the things and protocols that create trust, the more also human attention is important. And not only in the car or in control rooms, or definitely in esports. It is most important every time where correct decisions matter, where you have to have a good judgment of what you're doing, and especially where reaction times are critical. And what we are doing to go to this complex is we are taking measures of reaction time, of this loss of focus. We also can observe blind spots with our technology, also to some degree blurry vision. But what we can, first of all, analyze with our artificial intelligence programs and algorithms is speed, accuracy, and signal detection. This is what makes up actually the composition of human performance under different conditions, be it esports or be it just driving a car, or well, be it driving a Formula One racing car as well. What we are planning to do and what we are already doing, because we have started with our Endeavor and Challenge already, is we are taking non-invasive brain tracking mainstream. I guess you all have heard from this idea to put electrodes in your brain and see and judge and predict what humans want to do. But we are not that invasive. We just read from your eyes. We use a very traditional method actually, because the eyes convey a lot about human thinking and also attention. And this is what we plan to do, is we want, similar to a pulse rate tracker. I think some of you, maybe each one of you, has a kind of pulse rate tracker under the League of Things. This wearable pulse measurement device you find here comes with a software as a service. This is a Polar Track. You can have the same with Garmin. The thing is, we want to do the same. We want to provide a pulse watch for the mind. This is important for athletes, but it's also a nice thing if you just think of your, maybe you have an Apple Watch, maybe you have some kind of a Fitbit tool, but every one of these tools measures your physical parameters and feeds them back to you. So you can make the best of yourself, and it's a kind of a self-measurement as well. How do we go through this? I mean, this is very detailed here, but we use visual information. We record the eye, we record lid movements, and we have a patented algorithm that helps us to define different kinds of states of a person and to predict different kinds of states of a person. And we're feeding them back. This is, by the way, a very helpful tool here, this camera, in esports, because esports athletes don't like glasses so much. This augmented reality glasses we have here, we work with them as well. But in esports, something like this is better. Just tuck it on your monitor and receive the feedback of how good you are in 10 minutes playing Fortnite, for instance. What is interesting here, we have a market that is huge. We're talking about several $100 billion of US dollars, and I'm not exaggerating here because I'm scaling it up via Zoom. We have a great market in automotive, although this market is a little bit more far away. We have a great market in medical, neurological disorders. Why is that? It is because if we have a tool that is actually pretty easy because it looks into your eyes, it helps you to predict neurological, especially degenerative diseases very early. And what does that mean? It means that you can predict Alzheimer's, Parkinson, before you actually can see it in your behavior and before you notice clinical symptoms. And this is a huge part of research we have to go here. But the thing is, we are sitting with use cases, with already established use cases in markets like esports, where we have literally tons of data that help us to make our models better, and then just work on this platform and put all we know about human attention and prediction to education, entertainment, passenger transport, insurance. By the way, COVID-19 and education. So everything that has to do with EdTech currently is, of course, a very hot thing. So, and also, I guess trust plays a big role here.
Christian, thank you very much. Your time is up.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
Thank you
our
all.
next participant is Ned Saleh, founder of Sinsal. Hello, Ned. Could you
to,
unmute yourself?
Sure. I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can. So you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Excellent. So I will talk today about the problem that Syncell solves. We actually solve a major problem, one of the biggest problems in the world now. So what we solve is a problem that impacts 40% of Americans, and I think the argument also applies to the rest of the world, who suffer from avoidable lifestyle-induced illnesses. And the market now lacks an effective behavior-changing solution to attack these problems. And these lifestyle-induced illnesses range from heart disease to strokes, diabetes, obesity, and even cancers. And we learned a lot about how much these underlying conditions impact people's lives from the unfortunate events that we're seeing today from the COVID fatalities. They are mostly related to these underlying conditions. A lot of people have these conditions, don't even know they do. In the process of attempting to resolve these problems, health and wellness data, which is very valuable, is generated, but it's owned and monetized by data aggregators. This is a huge market. We're talking about $2 trillion and counting. And recently, the United Nations classified the top 17 problems in the world, and poverty and wellness were among the top 3. Of course, poverty ties to monetization, and it ties to monetization here and data ownership. Actually, recently, General Herding classified obesity as a national security problem. So, and of course, part of making sure people are well and remain well is that we make sure they are not infected with a disease or a pandemic. And I'll talk about the unique solution that we offer for COVID-19. I'm going to run the video of the device we invented. We have a minimum viable product. So the solution that we offer is a programmable full panel blood test for the mass market. This is a device you can own at home. It's a full blood lab and the rest of bodily fluids. It's a class 1 medical device. So there's no 510K or insurance needed. It's actually a unique model. It's quantified wellness and direct to consumer. So you can buy it off the shelf. One of the unique things about this technology is that the data generated is exclusively owned and monetized by users. So Syncell cannot own this technology. It's not a business decision. It's hardwired to be as such. And the amazing thing about this technology is that it's the price of a cell phone. It comprises a permanent reader, about $500, and consumable cartridges. So we have the minimum viable product developed, as you can see. The kiosk model is under development, as well as the drive-through model. Customer acquisition cost in our model is very low, similar to the cell phones, and so is the value of the lifetime for a customer. Now, we provide a unique, and to our knowledge, first in the world solution for COVID-19. We provide 4 needed tests simultaneously for COVID-19, and these are 2 tests related to the viral presence and 2 tests related to the antibody buildup. The first test is an amplification test for the viral material. The second test is actually an antigen blood test, and the 2 are the long-term and short-term antibody model buildup. The viral material is a swab, and the rest of the tests are just a few drops of blood. So with that, we can achieve high confidence for the viral presence. The antibody modeling, long and short term, is actually one of a kind, given that these tests can be done on a daily basis. It's a device that you can have at home, and you can just order these low-cost cartridges. And this is going to be very essential for the passport to re-enter society. This is more like a line on the resume right now till we discover vaccine or achieve herd immunity. And of course, our software can provide contact tracing. This is becoming less challenging now. And again, this extremely valuable data is owned by users and monetized by users as well in our blockchain network. So the behavior change approach that we have is more effective than the conventional cognitive behavior therapy, which is what Noom does. It's actually more effective. We divide human attention and behavior into 4 stages. The first stage is just measurement. So users can measure various biometrics that are related to, various biomarkers that are related to their wellness. Then we rank and peer the group of users based on various criteria. It could be age group, income group, ethnicity, and so forth. And we gamify them into changing their behavior. And finally, we reward them, and we establish a feedback loop, which eventually forms a habit or puts the users in an absorbing Markov chain. This is our team. The technical team.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Thank you very much. And we have our next participant with us, Scott Henninger, CEO at Carnomaly. Hello, Scott.
Hello.
Hi. We can see you, can hear you. Will you show us your pitch deck? Could you share your screen?
All right. Can you see it?
Not yet. Yes, we can see it. So you have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
All right. So hello, my name is Scott Henninger. I'm the CEO of Carnomaly. So Carnomaly is 2 companies in one. One, we are an automotive online marketplace, which will be carnomaly.com. And the second is our crypto automotive blockchain company with our rebate token, CAR, C-A-R-R, which is carnomaly.io. So we'll talk about the crypto side, and we'll also talk a little bit about the automotive side because the two kind of intertwine with each other. So with carnomaly.io, we're developing a rebate platform that will allow users to become a member of Carnomaly with their CAR tokens. Now with this membership, when they go out and buy a vehicle at any dealer worldwide, a registered dealer, so if you're in UK or Asia, the United States, Canada, Mexico, anywhere, and you go to a registered dealer to buy a vehicle, then you will get on carnomaly.io, you will submit your buyer's order, and you will be able to get a rebate of CAR tokens based on your purchase price of the vehicle, your membership level that you've achieved. There's 3 different tiers, and then you will also get those rebate tokens paid out to you that you can sell on an exchange, or you can hold them, wait for appreciation, whatever you want to do. Also with that, we're developing what's called the AVB, which is the Automotive Vehicle Blockchain. Now you can see here the AVB basically is exactly what it says, the Automotive Vehicle Blockchain. So if you're familiar with Carfax or these other various vehicle history reporting tools, what we're going to do is we're going to take that, we're going to put it on the blockchain. Also with that, we're going to have vehicle ownership data that is proprietary to the AVB that we will sublease out to DMVs and local registration companies so that we can streamline and simplify the registration of vehicles. I know here in the States, if you buy a vehicle, it usually takes anywhere from 20 to 30 days to actually get that title registered and transferred into your name. So one of the problems people have if they sell a vehicle independently to a neighbor or a friend or on Craigslist or different, avenues to sell your vehicle, it takes a couple weeks to get that vehicle transferred. Well, if anything happens in that vehicle during that time, like they run through tolls or they get into a wreck, that could come back on you because the vehicle hasn't been transferred out of your name. So what we want to do is we want to take all this vehicle ownership and we want to put it on the blockchain, and we want to have it instantly be able to be transferred from one owner to the next using your privacy key of your ownership. So if you're at a dealership and you trade in your vehicle, you can instantly transfer ownership to the dealer. That would get registered on the blockchain, also registered with the states, and the states could use that to register the vehicles. So really, we want to streamline the vehicle registration process and also make it worldwide, because right now, a lot of these vehicle history reports are just based in certain countries. So we want to make it where if you ship a car overseas, Mexico, Canada, Europe, different, various places around the world, all that vehicle data will transfer with that AVB automotive vehicle blockchain. And just to finish a little bit about the carnomaly.com side, with that, we want to kind of reinvent the automotive online shopping experience. And that's what our name is, Carnomaly. So we're an automotive anomaly. We're different. We want to be different. That's where we came up with Carnomaly. So with Carnomaly, you would be able to schedule service, have your vehicle picked up by different ride-sharing apps at work, your vehicle, or at home currently, because we're dealing with COVID, right? So a lot of us aren't going to work. So you're at home, you've been stuck in the house, you need to get your vehicle serviced, you get on Carnomaly, a ride-sharing company comes, picks up your vehicle, they take it to the dealership, your vehicle's serviced. Also, we're going to integrate live chat with the service advisor. So your car's there. You ever took your car for service? They said, oh, it needs brakes, it needs tires, right? You're like, yeah, well, I don't know if I want to spend all that. Well, now the service technician or the advisor can actually get on a chat with you, show you your brake pads, show you your tires. Here's where your millimeters are. Here's where your brake pad millimeters are. Do you want to do that? You authorize the service. The vehicle gets completed. You pay over the internet, and your car is brought back to you at your house. You never had to leave. Of course, you couldn't leave because of COVID. So now you're able to service your vehicle from your home without even leaving, getting out of your pajamas. So that is some of the highlights of Carnomaly.
Okay, thank you very much. You're a bit earlier. And we have our last participant, Simao Relvas, founder of BitCenter. Hi, Simao. We don't hear you. Could you unmute yourself?
Okay, just one moment.
Yes, works. So we can see you. Could you share your pitch deck?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see your screen.
Okay.
Can't see your pitch deck.
Okay, and now all good?
Yes. So
okay.
You have 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Okay, so hello, my name is Simão, BitCenter founder. First of all, I just want to let you know that this project is already on the market. We launched BitCenter Crypto App Store last month, and we already closed partnerships. We already have amazing feedback from the community, from the companies, from the users. And what I will show to you is something that is already going on. My market interpretation, it was very clear. It's obvious that the main app stores are not crypto friendly. Now we have debt stores, but so far they only accept centralized applications. And we noted that we have a lack of stores where all type of service and technologies are welcome. This is one of the main reasons that we decide to start the BitCenter. And for me, it's a very key point that we need to start thinking about massive adoptions and build user-friendly interface that encourage the general population to use blockchain service. So my main focus and the way that I build the BitCenter store is just not thinking only to crypto fans, but thinking about the general population. This is our focus. All the BitCenter is very simple and clear. We are equipped with all necessary tools, as I say before, encouraging a massive worldwide adoption of blockchain products and service. We create, I believe that we create the perfect environment to the companies list their apps and then products and promote the service. So again, my main focus is create the perfect environment to the user and to all the companies who need to testers, new users, and sell products and service. Again, our interface was specially developed to provide the best user experience, and we are building a new one during this week, so we launch a lot of new features. In the user perspective, is very simple. BitCenter Store, we provide information and insights about trust and successful crypto-related websites, dApps, and all type of application and websites related to blockchain and cryptocurrency service. We will launch this week, in the next couple of days, we will launch BitCenter Messenger, and I truly believe that this is the last piece that we will make this go viral, because in one end you have application, and in the other end you have a BitCenter Messenger that users can create groups, broadcasting their own channel, open private conversation, so it will be a very interesting ecosystem. We have a flash news, a very simple feature that will keep user update with the most important news of the week. I think is important too. And we have a rating system that will help the user to not be deceived by fraudulent service. So we have an active review and rate system that will protect the user from some scammers that are very common, unfortunately, on the blockchain world. So this rating system will help protect our community. Now, on company's perspective, we have a perfect environment that for all the companies who are looking for ads, user testers. I truly believe that BitCenter have all the conditions to power up all blockchain projects. Because we will launch our BitCenter Messenger, this tool will increase the engagement between brands and customers, because the brand, for example, a company will list the app on BitCenter Crypto App Store. They can create a channel, for example, trading signal channels, betting tips, and all this stuff, and they can broadcast some channels and open private conversation, and the brand with this tool will increase the engagement between company, brand, and final customer or user or community. We have a very interesting tool, and this is very important tool that is a SEO tool. So this means that when we list an app in our store or a company, we equip all our website with a very interesting SEO tools, and we will let the company go to the top of Google ranking. So this is a very important. I truly believe that we are offering a very interesting service to the companies. Right now, our current situation is very clear. On March 17, we decided to start our first campaign. After some optimization, you can see our real-time results in the last 24 hours. I think so, I'm not sure, but it was between the last 24 hours or 48. I'm not sure, but it's very recent. And we will launch our new web design, outstanding design in the next couple of days. We will launch our BitCenter Messenger and launch a massive marketing campaign in the next 2 weeks, and we will multiply these results by 10. So all the companies, all the investors, all the users are welcome to join us. So that's it. And of course, this beautiful team. This is a very, very professional team that will make all of this happen. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask all the judges to please save your Google Forms so that I can get your results. I can get your scores. And I would like to start with Pian King. Pian, could you please share your feedback?
Yeah.
Could you switch on the camera?
Share my video. Yeah, so I think that I think the pitches were all pretty solid. Car anomaly I thought was very interesting. On the VIN side, I'd love to get a little bit more information on the business model. To be honest, to further assess, I'd really love to see more on the business model front in terms of kind of analysis around total addressable market, what particular sectors you're focused on, what projections look like, and kind of feasibility around some of these more novel technologies, because it's tough to see what's really addressable and what the value is in the next couple of years, because so many of these technologies are not going to be profitable or not going to be generating revenue for a few years. So in terms of the R&D perspective, that's something I think would be interesting. From first glance, obviously 5 minutes doesn't really give me enough information, but I would say that I think they are large markets. They are very interesting, and I'm definitely interested in learning more. My email, I'll send it to the group. You guys can send me additional information so that I can further assess kind of what I believe could be an interesting kind of go-to-market strategy. But overall, it was I thought it was interesting, just pretty broad and pretty vague, obviously over a 5-minute pitch.
Well, thank you very much. Amy, could you please be the next one?
Yeah, thank you so much to all 4 of you for presenting your companies. I'm going to share remarks as we go, as in the order you guys presented. Christian, I'm not an expert in this field. However, I have the feeling that there are so many competitors in this market. And I remember you also had a slide about this, but you skipped it. So how do you address the competition?
Yes, there are a lot of competitors, but not in the prediction. And that has a very strange background, because obviously all the competition is not so interested in creating a platform. They are interested in providing a solution for a very particular problem, like for instance, attention in a car, which is something totally different than observing the right signals for predicting attention, for instance, on an air control tower, or for a surgeon who does a very fine-skilled who has motorist skills. So what we do is collected all the data we can get, behavioral data plus the biological data, into a platform. And because my background is in neuroscience, by the way, so this is what I studied, what I learned, and I've noticed many times in the laboratory that the things you see in the laboratory are absolutely stable, but the critical thing is why you can put them to the field is that the sensorium is not good. This is why we work with those fine glasses we have together with a partner, plus this device we are making, because when we have good data as an input, we have good predictions as an output. And that is what currently competition does not provide to that extent. So they're more in the status quo and say, okay, currently you're tired. Well, that's very interesting, because it's the only thing that you really know, that you're tired, but you don't know what function, what cognitive function is suffering during the course of a couple of minutes. And that is what we do.
Okay, got you. Thanks for sharing more on the key differentiator. And then the next one was Ned. Thank you so much, Ned, for presenting. I'm curious to learn that in what stage are you now? I didn't get that from the pitch. Plus also about the team, because we also need to score you guys on the team you're working with. And that was not clear from all the pitches. Hello, Ned?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're
Hello?
back. Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah. So our team is PhDs. We have 3 PhDs in our team. We have 5 advisors. They are attorneys and physicians. So really top-notch team. In terms of where we are, we are at Series A right now. We spent $3.5 million in our seed fund to develop the minimum viable product, and our technology is covered by 7 patents. We validated our technology, and right now we're trying to close $10 million raise to go to market. It will take us about 9 months to go to market if we have our raise today, and we're also planning a crowd funding raise where we're going to start taking pre-orders for our device. So that's pretty much where we are in the technology development.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Scott, thank you for your presentation as well. And I'm curious to learn, like, I didn't get it from your presentation, that which country or which area is your pilot? Like, where are you going to launch?
Well, we're based out of the United States, but our pilot really, it's online marketplace for vehicles. So the United States and Canada will be the first. That'll be our beta testing, but we will launch, basically seamlessly worldwide in all markets, because, like I said, with the rebate token, you can, instantly go to any dealer around the world and qualify for the rebate. And I don't know if you know this, but vehicle VIN numbers on cars, those have been worldwide since, as far as I can remember. I spent 18 years in the car business, and, or 18 years. So if a car is made in Europe, it has a VIN number that is transferable to the United States and vice versa. So, really by taking those VIN numbers and incorporating them on the blockchain, we can take this worldwide very seamlessly.
Cool. Yeah, I love that you're combining your passion and you're also building a token model on this. Did you look into the regulation, like what kind of token this rebate token is going to be?
Yeah, correct. We have a utility letter from our attorney. So we have basically a utility token based on the rebate use of the token and the membership that the token provide, or that you have to get the token. It's considered a non-security token. So it is a utility token. Got
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Bit Center, I can't see. There you are, Simao. Thanks for the cool presentation. I love the energy, and yeah, you also showed us your team. You said that you're already live, so in which markets are you operating as of today?
Well, we are everywhere.
Okay.
We already closed partnership in Asia, some games on Korea, some of the biggest trading companies, and we have a lot of the biggest companies in the world. We are already almost closing. We are just waiting from the launch of the Bit Center messaging and the new web design layout in the next couple of days, but we already have closed a lot of partnership in 1 month and 10 days. So the community already say yes to us. So yeah, we are doing well. And it's missing just I think China is only place that we don't have yet a partnership. Yeah.
So who's your partner in Asia then?
We have 2 games on our website. If you go to our website, I can type here all our partners. We have several partners on gaming section on the category gaming, and we have partnership on trading tools. We have already close to partnerships. I can type here, but like 3, the games for Sword. Let me. Okay, I can tell you. Games is Crypto Sword, Eros Dynasty. On trading tools, we already closed with 3, and we have more companies that are waiting for the launch of the new version and our new campaign. So this week it's
Thank you so much. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish you guys all good luck. I'm also available for any questions or any way I can help. I'm here to help.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Luis Freitas, could you please share your feedback?
Yes, sure. First, I would like to congratulate everyone. All the pages, they were very, very nice, very complete, with a lot of information and amazing solutions. Congratulations again. I have two questions. One is for Christian. I really couldn't understand whether your solution is already commercial, if you have an MVP, and at what stage the solution you're developing is, if you already have any prototype being used for any of the industries you mentioned on your pitch.
We have one prototype for measuring lid and also blood flow in the face. We haven't the plans for the camera, but we have to build the camera. And we're having a prototype for using training in esports, but that goes in the combination with those augmented reality glasses, because we also have gaze there. We can measure the pupillary dilation as a measure of mental load. And that means we have a service already, which is ready. It's not only a MVP, it's really a working service. And for the real scalable thing, which is the camera, we take more time. That's the one that's under development, that needs money, and that needs time for development. So that's not an MVP yet. But the service for esports, already for training, helping them, is ready and more than MVP.
And for the camera, how long do you foresee it will take? Is still for you to go commercial, to have a viable product?
We have a plan where we should be ready in 1 year, because the camera is not only the optical thing. With it's free cameras, but that's one thing, is the optical thing. The other more interesting is we have a chip on it. It's an AI chip which does all the computation. Plus we have the connection to a cloud space where we have software as a service for professional esports teams. And that is actually what is the development, where a lot of development goes in. So we have a plan now that we have a ready product in 1 year for the B2B business for the teams. And we are doing this POC together with Korean esports teams, because they also have, we have a partnership with a consultant there. The consultant is specialist in training, education, and all you need for esports. So it's pretty, it's not easy to answer straightforward, but we don't have the hardware. We borrow the hardware, but we have big parts of the solution already.
Okay, great. No, it's an amazing solution, and on my side, I look forward to learn a little more. I'll share my email, and if you can send me some more information, I'll take a look. And thank you very much. And I would like also to talk to Scott regarding car anomaly, because I understand this is a solution we're talking about, a blockchain solution for car transferring and all this this process, but each country has their specific regulations for car transferring, and it requires a lot of documents, and I really understand the problem of taking a little longer for you to ultimately transfer a car. But how are you looking into dealing with all the local regulations for this car transferring process?
Well, basically, with the AVB, the transfer of ownership would be pretty seamless on the AVB. Now, what we will be able to do is take each area or regulatory area and kind of customize the licensing for using the AVB to register and transfer ownership in their area. So with the AVB, that section, we will be basically licensing it out to allow those DMVs or vehicle registrations to transfer. So like in the United States, different states have different rules, but overall, the United States allows you to transfer cars from Texas to New Mexico to New York, Philadelphia. And that's one of the problems that we currently have, is if somebody buys a car out of state, the registration process is, right now, it's very, very difficult. There's a lot of mistakes. And that's what we believe, having one way to register the vehicle, one solution, will help simplify those. And we'll basically sublease this technology out to the different municipalities around the world, or different countries. So it'll be up to them to how we set it up for their particular regulatory laws.
Yeah. So your client, the one that's going to buy or use, not the how can I say, the client's going to be the car user, but you're going to sell your solution to the government. That's right.
Yes, we will lease out the use of the blockchain.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm thinking. I live in Miami, but I'm from Brazil, and Brazil is very similar to what we have here in the US. You have like a federal level of regulations, but you have each municipality has its own technicalities and specificities there. And your client would be the government there's going to lease this platform and offer to the car user. So I think what you need in order to grow outside the US would be like to have some local teams dealing with local governments. That's right.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. And really, with this, there's a lot more. We didn't even really talk about the natural disaster warning system that would be with the blockchain based on where a vehicle is registered. So you said you live in Florida. So if the zip code you live in gets hit by a hurricane, it would actually put a warning flag that vehicle could have had potential flood damage. So a potential buyer at an auction or online or individual, or if you were looking to export it to, like, say, Brazil, the buyer there would be able to look and say, hey, this car was in an area that was hit with a hurricane. You might want to check the vehicle for flood damage. So we're also hoping to eliminate some of these dealers and wholesalers and different people that sell cars that are damaged without disclosing it. We're hoping to put that kind of awareness out there.
No, makes total sense. Also, I look forward. I will share my email. I want to learn a little bit more about your solution, because I really believe it's something that will help a lot. And the meantime between the sale and the actual transfer, this is it looks that is easy, and you shouldn't be worried. But
right.
I've seen some pretty ugly stuff as accidents with people killing or dying in the meantime. And then until you explain in court that you're not liable because you already sold the car, it's a big headache. So I really want to. I'm looking forward to learn more, and also if I can contribute to the development of your product.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Yulia to please share your feedback with the project and with our audience.
Yes, thanks guys for your presentation. Now I will speak about what I personally, like investor, want to be changed in the presentation, because not all the presentation are looking very clear. But generally, in any case, like it's told that if you cannot explain your idea to a 5-year child, it is very difficult to anybody to understand. That's why, for example, Christian and for Scott, I am very, it is not my area. That's why I can give concrete recommendation. But in general case, I see that any project needs to be very clear, not only for specific investors, but for all of investors. Yeah, you need to make very attractive your idea to be funded to a big amount of investors, not only very targeted investors. And also one of the main recommendations to all, I don't hear what is your main goal in 1, 5, 10 years. It means that, okay, I have an idea, this is my idea, I plan to do this one, we plan to do this for this concretely. To achieve, we need these exactly funds. Yeah, to be very clear and very specific for the investors. For me, it's more clearly, for example, if somebody comes and told Julia, look, we want to improve this area, we will make this point, and we need for this 2 million, for example, yeah, and in 1 year we will increase or we will realize all the project. This is a general recommendation. If I speak about the net presentation, also it is very interesting idea about me. It is about it is how I understand it is something like a medical device in any house, in every house. And also, I don't hear what your concrete goal it is here. You plan that everybody has a typical advice at home, or how do you plan your growth, general, to be understand the funding?
You're asking what are our plans to enter market?
Yeah.
Yes. So it was in the slide, so I just ran short. But we should be in the market within 9 months. If we have our raise today, we can actually go to market with as little as $5 million. Since it involves hardware, it's somehow cash intensive. But within $5 million, we should be able to start generating revenue that would sustain the company.
No. This I see in your presentation. I ask about which is your goal. Yeah. Do you want to implement it that in each house will be your product, or how exactly?
Well, as I showed, there are two models. There is the mass market model where, as you mentioned, you would own this device at home. And there's the kiosk model where it could be placed in schools and malls, in public places and campuses, and people would access it just like an ATM machine. So you would basically do a wellness test, or nowadays people would like to do a COVID test, and you would access it as a private data account, so that you would own the data and it would be yours.
Okay, thank you. And please send the presentation, because I have some zero interesting in this area. Okay, thank you. Also, I want to comment about Simao. Bit Center. I mean about Bit Center. I want to ask about your target, about you speak about that you also are oriented to trading, not only advertise. Can you tell me more about?
No, hello, first of all.
Hi.
What I'm trying to say is that we, our user-friendly interface has built to create all type of channels, make possible the brands, increase the engaging between brand and customer. For example, in your case, if you have a trading company, you can list your app in our store, create your channel, and broadcast to your audience and to all the community audience your product and your service. This is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah, now it's clear, totally. In general, the idea is very good. Some of the companies try to implement it. I don't know if you study the competitors, if you know your competitors.
Yeah, so far, what I based on my research, I saw that there is a DEPS app stores, correct? But they just, the name by itself say that they just accept this decentralized applications. So, but in real case, we have a lot of centralized application and centralized application. This is why we are different, because we accept all type of blockchain service, decentralized and centralized. And again, my main focus is always to develop a user-friendly interface to make the life to the conventional people, because I'm not just focused on crypto users. And I think this is a mistake of the companies, just think crypto users. I'm not, this is a very percentage of the world population. I'm thinking bigger, you know, out of the pool. And this is why I'm developed something that can, the transition between the conventional world to the crypto world, my goal, my mission is be easier and faster and simple. You know, this is my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate also if you can send more details about the project, it will be interesting.
Yeah, of course.
We are working in the same area.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Good. Thanks.
Well, thank you. I'd like to ask Eli Ansari to please share your feedback.
Great. Thanks, Elena. All great presentation, guys. You guys have done a great job. Solid pitches. 5 minutes, I know, is a very short period of time. You know, it really is. It's kind of hard to put your best foot forward when you're the one running the company. So completely understand that. I'll start off with more global feedback. You know, as I mentioned earlier, this is the reallocation of assets we're seeing. So the technology funding has been reduced. I mean, there's still investors writing checks just to fund technology, but I think people are funding solutions. So you need to quantify the benefits. Even though you may be really early on, you don't have your hardware, you don't have the system built out, but based on your own calculations, mathematics, what is the actual intended or the expected benefit that you would receive? Really, especially Christian, Scott, you know, the go-to-market is kind of hard for you because, of course, like Christian, you have to actually get the funding to create the product the way I understood it. And Scott, of course, you have the governments that you have to convince to become customers. You know, how do you sort of really move the needle, even though you may get, you know, seed funding? So in the case of, you know, Christian, you know, find an alpha customer and, you know, give them a sweetheart deal or MFN, you know, most favored nation status, and really be able to work your product around that company. One of my companies, Creator IQ, you know, what we did was, you know, the company actually built the entire influencer platform working with a company that was a leading company at that time. Now it is massive company with, you know, Disney and every, you know, just really, really good quality customers. So, you know, that's a very good starting point. And I'm an advisor to that company and an early investor. And you know, Scott, getting government as customers is a very tough business. You know, there are companies that I actually know well in the Bay Area here that have built great technology, and they have raised, I mean, insane amount of capital, 70, 80 million. They're not able to get customers, the governments. They have LOIs and they have some initial beta testing, but that's a very hard customer to get. What may be a possible way is to find customers that actually already are supplying to those customers, right? So you look at Accenture, look at Booz, large consulting companies that have those contracts and relationship, and become a sub-vendor to those companies versus trying to establish those direct relationships, which requires a lot of capital, a lot of legwork to build out. And you know, like I said, governments are just horrible customer directly. It takes a long time to build it out, but you need to find a market to be able to convince the investors to be able to fund you. I think Ned, in your case, I think one of the comments you made was you have a I'm sorry, that was Scott. That you have an attorney letter for the utility token. Did I get it right, Scott?
Yes, we do have a utility letter.
Okay. I think, you know, I've seen, you know, a lot of those letters being challenged by the SEC. I mean, look at KIC and all these things. So I don't know the entire tokenomics and token metrics, but just be very careful in terms of how, you know, if you, I'll send you my email if you, I'll put it over there. Please send your detail. I'll look to take a look at it and give you any feedback if you like on your utility token. So thank you. I think on Ned, you were talking about the team, and you know, if you don't really talk about the team in your 5 minute, then the assumption is going to be that you just don't have a team that you want to talk about. So I would just really make a list of the 5 items that you know you are really strong in, right? If you have that kind of team you want to talk about the team. So you want to create 5 items and you say, I want to drill in these 5 items before my 5 minutes are up. What are the 5 things that I want to convey in my 5 minutes, right? I don't care about the overall thing because most of the time people would not understand the entire business in 5 minutes. But what are the 5 takeaways? Your goal is just to get the investor to share your, you know, share the email so then you can, or, you know, contact, so then you can follow up and do a proper presentation, right? That's the 5 minute goal. You know, just really hardware is a hard business to be in. Find a partner. There's no shortage of companies that can do that. And the last comment I have is market should be really broader. So just don't look at the evolved customers that have adopted and embraced the digital assets and blockchain technologies. Look for customers that have really been marginalized because of or because of lack of the availability of these solutions. So what you want to do is work to give them the tools to be able to conduct business, like the underbanked for fintech, right? So you just want to really address a bigger market and really tap into it, find go-to-market channel partners. You know, several of my companies might be interested in a couple of these items that you brought up. So I'll send you my email, you know, send me your pitch deck and I'll see how I can help.
Sure, thanks.
Thank you, Ellie. Xiao-Chan, could you please share your feedback?
Sure, thank you. And firstly, appreciate the full presentations and all well done. Congratulations. And some general feedback. And one is that, you know, within 5 minutes, what to present. And everyone shared the same, you know, 5 minutes is difficult to present a holistic picture, but you know, what should be the main content that you should include? And I think that if you're at the different stage, you probably should the key information and, you know, your performance, your revenue, and how you achieve that, and how can you just grow that revenue in the next few years or so I think those can just really get the investors interested and understand that, you know, put $1 and when they can get to the $5 or $10 back. And if, you know, you are at early stage, and then you probably need to be very clear about the problem you're trying to solve, the market sizing, and also where do you stand as of now, and what are the next 3 steps concretely. And I think, you know, within 5 minutes, you are able to, you know, convey those messages. If those messages are clear and probably it will be easier for the investor to understand how much help you need, which area you need, and do I, as an investor, have the ability to help you specifically for that problem you have described. So that's from the 5 minutes. And the second part, I really like this session because the four of you share the commonality that many of the earlier crypto only type of project only trying to serve the crypto community, but all the four of you trying to serve a much bigger population, and with real industry, real world problems. That's I think that's very important, because we all understand that after 2019 and all the real world use case, solving real problem becoming the core. And I think you are really just dealing with that. And the third component I see very positive as the four projects share is each one of you not only solve a real world problem in a real industry, but also that you can combine the blockchain technology with multiple other technologies. And I think that's also just make the one, a lot of time that's in the early stage, and we heard a lot of claim blockchain will solve all the problems alone. And as of now, everyone knows that it cannot. And so by combining blockchain technology with other industry-specific technologies, and I think that's just make blockchain stronger and also make other technologies stronger. So in general, I think this full presentation really shed light on that. It's great. And in terms of the next steps, and I think one is that for Kristen's project, probably that's at this stage, your presentation remind me when I was listening to other pitch in Israel, and while that's the healthcare project came to present to me, and I didn't have any healthcare background. Finally, it's hard for me to really add value there. And so you present a very sophisticated solution with multiple parts or components, and each component is sophisticated in its own way. And so if you present to the investors with specific in your sector, and with that technical background, and how do you present, and they probably need that kind of depth. But if you present it to investor group which is not in your sector, which might not have that technology depth, and how do you present? I think that is really the key, and how to convey the message. And for Scott, and I really like the model, and also just in the last 2 years, and I have been involved in several car related blockchain solution. And many times I think other investors already mentioned that the compliance side, the data sharing, data privacy side, and also introducing a token into this traditional sector, which many of the players or the consumer side and even the dealer side are very conservative. And how can you just incentivize them to change behavior, help them to adopt? And I think those are the key things which from the model side is very clear, and it has great potential. But it's from the behavior side that how can you just really drive the behavior change, and also get your business model compliant with different jurisdiction. And for the other, I forgot the name, that you mentioned that you have a market like clients or partnership in all the other countries, and if you are interested in the Asia, especially China market, and help you. I'd be happy to just get you introduced to some of the local partners there. And just 2 years ago, and from 2 years ago till this year that we launched quite a number of challenge, and where that's we have from the gaming sector, we have from our last championship, we have 2 startups who are working in this industry, and we help them to connect with some other like ecosystem players, and happy to just get you introduced to this ecosystem as well. But in general, I think this pitch event is with very high quality, and of course that's you make this event with the quality it has. Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Xiaochen. Tess, could you please join
Hi,
us?
thank you. Yes, thank you. I think all the founders and entrepreneurs did a great job, given that it was just 5 minutes. And thank you to all the other judges. They've had some very good feedback. So a lot of the feedback that they give, I agree, and I won't mention those. What I will mention are some areas that they did not mention yet, to hope to complement and give some more resources to the presenters. So again, Christian, Ned, Scott, and Samo, you guys all did a good job. What I would like to focus on, I think it's important, even in a 5-minute pitch, is the goal of a 5-minute pitch is to allow investors that are here on the panel and also, that are in the audience to quickly see if there's a match. So it is a sorting event. So therefore, I think it's also important investors care about the livelihood and the longevity of a company, which means what is the amount of funding that has been raised, and what is the burn rate, and also what is the amount that you would like to raise. I know some of the founders and founding team members here had mentioned that. However, for those who have not mentioned that, I think it's critically important to mention how much was raised, because even if you get another next meeting with one of us, that's going to be the first question that we all ask. And that is itself is going to be a differentiator. For those who have not raised and are probably at a starting to raise and they don't have initial capital, I think it's important that you mention if you have advisors who are helping do the heavy lifting of this, which is very important. And if you, as an investor myself who is still investing and actively investing, like I said, I personally just recently closed regulation amendments. I think it's very important that we know that there are other people that are on your team that's helping you do the heavy lifting of thinking about capital raising, and there to help champion you and your startup to the right network and the right investors. Because in COVID-19, in these especially uncertainty time, even more important that you have someone help navigate who are the investors that still have. Otherwise, you're going to burn out because as a leader of your company, and fundraising is the biggest component of it. You're fundraising, you're building the product, you're managing the team, you're recruiting, you're hiring, you're thinking about regulations, you're speaking with the lawyers. So I understand that because I have been a founder myself, and when I invest, I work side by side with the founders to help them accelerate their progress. And of course, in this case, I myself have, when I invested into the company I mentioned, it was important for me to help think about their funding strategy and then think about how to get them users and how to get them revenue. So I help, navigate the investors that I think would be very good strategic hands-on investors. I help introduce the advisors. Of course, the team was very strong with amazing experience. So it was a very good, complementary, unified, complementary team. And they recognize, their strengths, they recognize their weaknesses. And that's what investors that are, fundamentally who have experience where, the team member is able, the founders are able to recognize who they need to help complement their team. And like I emphasize, time after time, if you don't have the strategic investors that helping you do the heavy lifting, it is critical that you bring on, I would say, advisors that have superpowers, so that can help superpower and, charge up your team and help you through the highs and help you through the lows. So if you have those advisors, you should mention those. If you have those investors, you should mention those, because of the fact that this gives comfort and also piques the interest of potential investors, where they think, okay, I think I would like to work alongside, invest and help this particular team, knowing that they also have surrounded themselves by other great people, and that's investors and advisors. So hopefully that is something that you can help take away, and be able to navigate and think through how to find those advisors, and of course always through them look for those strategic investors. And in my case, I help this particular company with structuring a joint venture, with structuring their actual users, and actually bringing on the strategic investor and advisor that can help bring them users and revenue, because they already were a strategic partner that was selling into these companies that would complement the company that I have invested in recently. So I think hopefully this will give you some good kind of frameworks and how to think about it. And I myself is happy to help answer more questions and help contribute, and help in any respect make intros, or give some further advice. So feel free to also direct message me. Thank you.
Thank you, Tess. Thank you very much. Alexandra, could you join us? Could you share feedback?
Hey guys. So the pitches were very interesting, but I also believe you can improve on them a lot. I really agree with Xiaoshen and Tess, and I will add a few things. I think it was quite vague and not concrete enough. Besides throwing out the big numbers for the market size, there weren't really numbers at all, or facts. For example, Scott, you mentioned, oh no, sorry, Ned, you mentioned that you had several patents and that you were in a Series A, that you already spent 3.5 million. That's very valuable info, and it only takes 10 seconds. And so I think that should have been included in the presentation. And to continue with Ned, you might be aware of Theranos. They also, but this one was a scam. They also claim the same thing, that they had a very small device that would allow people to run blood tests, and they raised 700 million and had a $10 billion valuation at some point. So that might be something to include in your presentation to show the potential you have if you truly have that device yourself, and if you're not a scam like the others. So very promising if you do have it. For Simao from BitCenter, I like the enthusiasm. I also liked that you were one of the few to give numbers, the number of users. But if you're one, you might be the one that's the most advanced. And so I would have liked to see images of the app, maybe. If you have a product and you're proud of it, then you should show it. And it would have made things more concrete as well. You also talked about going viral, but I didn't really understand how. If you explained that, maybe that would have been better. And for Scott, for Kanomali, I would mention Car Vertical, which is a crypto project. They also deal with VIN numbers and provide vehicle history. They're ranked about 800 in the crypto space, which isn't that good, but they're still alive. So there's clearly a market for that. But like Eli said, I think the automotive industry might be quite hard to penetrate. And so I would have liked maybe to have some more backstory about you, if you have experience in the industry, contacts, or it was interesting from, I don't know who asked the question, but you mentioned you talked with governments. And so that might have been very good to include in your pitch as well, to carry some weight. And finally, for Christian, just a backstory about myself. I spent a lot of time in esports as well. I tried to become pro at League of Legends. I would actually rank 300 in Europe at some point. I was like semi-professional. And so I know for a fact that esports is very big, and even like on amateur team, now you have coaches, you even have mental coaches, you have analysts. And so there's clearly a demand for this. But again, I would have liked more concrete things. For example, like you said that you're already working with esports teams. And so maybe a backstory, like we ran some tests and we saw that attention decreased at 2 p.m. after lunch. So we told them to have a short nap, and then we saw the performance increase or something like that. So overall, everything was very interesting, but I would like much more details, precisions, and facts.
Thank you, Alexander. Thank you all very much. I received all the scores from our judges, and I have a clear winner of today. So Ned Salih, Sinsal founder, congratulations. You are the winner.
Thank you.
Thank you
Great
very
pleasure.
much. I'd like to thank our speakers and pitch competition judges. Thank you, projects, and thank you, our online audience. Valentin Preobrazhensky, would you like to say something? Okay.
Yes. Elena, thanks a lot, and thanks to everybody. My congratulations to Ned Salih. I hope you can adjust this to tests, to coronavirus tests, to antibodies tests, and this can help to end quarantine faster. And this will definitely be a very big success for your project. Thanks a lot for judges, for speakers. You're welcome to join our next events. You're welcome to think what kind of discussions you want to run there. You can do fireside chats or keynotes. Tess is already testing this. Tess, thanks for joining us. You're welcome. So have a great day. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much.